Charlie O'Hara in the studio today, here to answer your legal questions. If you need some legal advice, get on the phone now, 436-1212. Charlie, good to see you again, as always.
Good to be here.
Let's talk about the difference. We've had this call a lot, and you say you get asked this question a lot, but between pleading no contest and between pleading guilty.
Well, actually, there's three options in a criminal case that you can plead. You can plead not guilty, obviously. You can plead guilty, which is obvious, and no contest. What no contest means is you're not contesting the charges. It doesn't mean in any way you're admitting you're guilty. It means you're not going to fight the charges. You're just going to let it happen. And then the judge hears the evidence, usually on a statement from the prosecutor, and then finds the person guilty. However, the huge distinction is if you get sued in a civil suit, say you have an accident and you were driving and somebody gets hurt and they charge you with a crime for that accident, you can plead no contest. It does not affect the civil case. They can't say you admitted that you did it, but they can say it doesn't have any effect at all. And the reason it happens a lot of times is for that reason. People are worried about the liability for one thing or the other that the crime might result in. So rather than admitting the crime, they just don't contest it. That way they don't get into it, and then if they want to sue them, they have to prove every element. Okay. And you haven't admitted any element in the criminal case.
Okay, so now I know the difference.
Okay.
Something we were talking about during the commercial break to a story we reported on today about these stop signs that have been taken or damaged. And I think a lot of times this time of year we hear about pranks. Pranks, though, can have big legal consequences in some cases.
Well, I would hope that anybody stealing a sign is just somebody not thinking very far in advance. But actually what happens is if you steal a stop sign at a wrong intersection and someone doesn't see the stop sign, it could result in a serious accident or even death. So it's something not to fool around with. And I think I think it actually is a criminal act. It's obviously at minimum a theft. And if more things happen because of it, or if you're doing it to cause an accident or think it's funny, it can really result in some bad things happening to people. I mean, you think about it, a four-way stop and you steal all the stop signs, it can result in some really bad accidents.
Just good to point out, I think, sometimes when you think about pranks or, oh, we're just joking around or having fun, there are legal ramifications.
That's true.
Okay.
There are to most things, actually.
Okay, thank you, Charlie.
Okay.
Let's go ahead and get to this phone call on the line. Hi there. You're on the line with Charlie. Go ahead. What's your question?
Yes, I'd like to know when you go to court, if you get a moving violation ticket, why you can't plead the fifth. They do it in Congress all the time, so why can't you do it in court in Wichita?
Well, you can, actually. You can plead the fifth. You don't have to, if you have, the fifth means, what that means is you don't have to incriminate yourself. You don't have to testify against yourself. And if you don't testify there, no one can hold anything against you, the fact that you didn't testify. However, if you have a trial and you don't testify and the police officer says you're speeding and you have no defense, you're probably going to get convicted. So you still have the ability to plead the fifth, but it's probably not going to help you in that situation unless you have other witnesses that can testify you weren't speeding.
Okay, so typically in that spot, if you're going to have an officer who perhaps is testifying against you, maybe go ahead and speak up for yourself?
Well, yeah, and I think there's a lot of misunderstanding what the Fifth Amendment is. That's basically, you don't have to be a witness against yourself, and no one can make any inferences from that are bad. You just don't have to testify. It doesn't mean that you just get acquitted of something.
What about testifying against your spouse? Is there any laws on Kansas on that?
Yes, there are, and they kind of vary between state and federal court, but there's exceptions to that. And the exceptions, some of the biggest exceptions are obviously in abuse cases between the husband and the wife, that doesn't apply. And in sexual abuse cases or things against the children, it doesn't apply.
Okay.
So where people think it applies, it doesn't apply. You almost have to go to an attorney to find out exactly how that works and where it applies.
Okay, good deal. Thanks so much, Charlie. Good to see you again. Have a good week.
Thanks, you too.
And a good Memorial Day weekend.
You too.
And we'll be back with more Eyewitness News, and we'll see Charlie next time.